Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today, I've got another very special guest. Today, we've got Josh Ziglowski. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Dean?
Thanks for joining us today. So, guys, this is a very, very important presentation that we're going to have for you today about ERC. You might have heard of it, you might have not, but this is really important. This is something that I went through personally. I'll share that in just a moment. But Josh, let's go ahead and dive right into it and share with everybody what we've got in store for them.
Okay, let me share my screen. Is that okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay, yeah. I got the floor.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Well, my name is Josh Ziglowski, and I'll go over some stuff on the ERC program. A lot of you guys have heard about it at this point. When I started the company when it came out through the pandemic back in May of 2021, I would say 10 out of 10 people didn't know about it. So we'll go over some housekeeping items. I think, Dean, why don't you kind of go over what your story is first?
Yeah. So the way it worked out for me was, I'm in real estate and doing investment deals, and there was another real estate investor in my network who had mentioned about ERC. And at this point, I had never heard of it, had no idea what it was, but I was willing to listen. I was like, okay, tell me more. So I got on a webinar similar to this here, watched a presentation. Before it was even over, I was going to the website, which we'll give you the link to go to. We got a special link for you guys. I went to the website. I was already filling out the questionnaire. And by the time I was done, I was shocked what I qualified for. Now, mind you, I'm a small business, right? Don't have a ton of employees. Between 2020 and 2021, I had, 1-2 employees. I think for one of the years, I still had my employees as 1099, and then soon after switched over to W-2 employees. So I missed out on a lot more money that I could have had, but what I qualified for was just under $40,000. I mean, I was literally shocked based on the number of employees that I had and some of the qualifications, but that was money that I got for free. And it was money set aside as stimulus money. So I was extremely excited, extremely happy. It was kind of a set it and forget it thing. I submitted it, filed it, and kind of forgot about it until the checks came in. I was like, holy smokes, what are these for? Oh, that's right. And was super excited about it. So I think you guys have to watch this until the very end, because if you don't, you potentially could miss out on money that is due to you for free. Like, no reason not to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So, thanks for sharing that. And I actually, as someone that one of the co-founders of ERC Specialists, I love hearing those testimonials. And we have, even on our website, probably 15 to 20 testimonials that people actually receive actual checks. We've helped a lot more businesses. But so we'll go over a couple of housekeeping items. And what is this about? How can it help my business? How long is this going to be? The one thing, Dean and I are going to we're going to do our best to keep it within 10 to 15 minutes. We'll have some links in the middle and the very end, so you know where to quickly apply and see if you do qualify, for this ERC credit. Now, what is ERC? It stands for Employee Retention Credit. At the very end, it says, should I pre-qualify myself? And the reason why I have that in there is Forbes did an article in February of 2022. And they said up to 80% of businesses under 500 employees that are W-2 actually qualify for this, yet 7 out of 10 don't even know about it. And the reason why they did that is there's different pieces within the ERC program that has been amended a few different times. It started with a certain way of a 20% revenue loss to now they make it much easier for the business owner to qualify. But there is a qualifications. We'll go over those in just a second. So who am I? Josh Ziglowski. I'm the co-founder of ERC Specialist, Vice President of Business Development. My background, obviously, that's my beautiful family. My background is commercial real estate and as a serial entrepreneur, and how I hate to use the word discovered, but how I this fell into my lap is because I was trying to find extra stimulus for an oil business that was suffering in 2020. Price per barrel was negative $60 a barrel one day.
Crazy.
And with that, I was a minority owner. And in March of 2021, President Biden amended the American Rescue Plan Act. And when he did that, he made it so if you got PPP, you can now get this other program called ERC, and it started at the exact same time. So with that, I reached out to my CPA, which is a prominent CPA, and he told me, the one thing you're going to find out is CPAs probably won't do this because they do your 1040s and your 1120s. You need to reach out to a payroll company because they do your 941s. This is amending your 941 quarterly payroll report. Well, I reached out to ADP and Gusto. Both of them told me, sorry, they don't amend 941s. You need to talk to a third-party service in order to help you with this. I reached out to a couple, wasn't satisfied, and then decided kind of the who, not how mentality to start a business out of it. We've gone from 6 employees to almost 200, or 6 partners to almost 200 employees. So who are we as far as our company? We specialize in helping businesses claim the ERC tax credit. It was created to assist business owners in taking advantage of the employee retention credit. We're now a team of 200 plus processors and growing. We've helped thousands of companies. And we reference this in the very end, but today, I don't know what today is, March 3rd. We've helped 48,000 businesses so far. We want to really strive to hit 100,000 businesses to make sure they can help as many companies as we can possible, whether they have 1 employee to 500 employees. We want to help them all. And we've created an automated process to make it easiest way possible to help the business owner. The other thing we've done, because a lot of people at the very beginning is like, who's this company out of Utah I'm sending my quarterly reports to? Well, we also wanted some pieces within our company, and we want to go get advisory board members that can help us make sure we're ahead of the game. We're in Utah, and so one of the first people we talked to is our state attorney general there, Sean Reyes. He then introduced us to a couple others, Matt Whitaker, who's the former U.S. Attorney General under Trump, Alan Crooks. Don't get the last name confused. He's a great guy, knows what he's doing on government relations. And then James Clark, he's a business owner in the city of Utah. What I put here is there's a lot of people that will say, especially in the dental industry for some reason, that, hey, I don't qualify for this. My person is telling me I don't. This is, if you want something to be referenced, this is the president of the Texas Dental Association that basically says, hey, they were really great to work with. And they were able to help me through the questionnaire, see if I do qualify. And so we'll go over what those links are here in just a second. We talked about this a little bit, how the CARES Act is what started. Then it was amended to the American Rescue Plan Act. In the pandemic, there was an EIDL, which was a loan for a 30-year through the SBA, and PPP was a loan that was forgiven later. This is a tax credit. Now, this isn't giving you credit on your taxes for the next couple of years. This is an overpayment, and you know this better than anyone, Dean, because you've obviously received the checks. But it's an overpayment. It's money you don't have to pay back, and you can use it for whatever in your business, right? Mm-hmm. Did you also do PPP, Dean?
I did not. No.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time, didn't think I qualified because of the fact that I didn't have W-2 employees during that period of time, and so I didn't go through any of that process. I did take advantage of the EIDL loans,
Sure.
So did that, and that worked out great. But again, by the time I heard and found out about ERC, I didn't think I was going to qualify because of the W-2 employee. When I went through the questionnaire, I then soon realized that because of certain qualifying things that took place in the business, and I actually did have W-2 employees during one of the years, that I was able to qualify. And like I said, was surprised at the amount of money I was able to get.
Yeah. There was a lot of people, probably in your case at the time, you may or may not remember, but there's a lot of people that tells me all the time, I didn't want to apply for the PPP because they told me it was a loan. Well, then it was forgiven 4 months later, and like, oh, I should have applied, you
Right.
know? So again, when you look at these quick facts of ERC compared to PPP, this is W-2 employee based. This is up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you have 10 employees, that's up to $260,000 of newfound money for your business that you, like, just right there, you don't have to pay back. This is not a loan, and you can use it for anything. In PPP, it was a loan that was forgiven later, and in order to be forgiven, you had to specify in your expenses what you're using the money for. Where this, you don't have to do that. So what is this going to cost me? A lot of people's like, okay, this sounds too good to be true, but you know, what's this going to cost me? The way we did the program is it's a 15% of what you get approved for, because there is one bad thing with the program. It does take 6 months for the money to be sent to you from the Treasury Department, aka the IRS. We can't control that time frame. How long did yours take, Dean? Do you remember?
It took roughly 4 to 5 months. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it was about that time period.
Yeah. So it depends on when you file. When we first started this, it was 8 months. Then it got down to 6, went back to 7. Then we saw some at 4 months at one time. But so we tell everyone, you know, have the expectation of 6. If it happens in 4, you know, there's an extra cherry on top. But it does come in checks in the mail. And, you know, that's just the way they've done things, you know, they want to keep the USPS in service. So they definitely send manual checks through that portal. So where do I find out about this? We've told you a couple times, we have some links. So obviously you want to go to deanrogers.com/ERC, and you'll go through a questionnaire. I'll go through the timeline here in just a second, but basically you're going through a questionnaire that we're not going to ask for a credit card. It takes you 5 or 10 minutes. And like I said before, don't go into this of pre-qualifying yourself. Go into it of knowing that we aren't going to get paid, which our fee again is 15%, until you actually receive the money. And so we actually wait that 6-month period until you get paid in order to receive our fee. So we're willing to wait for that. Now, how does someone qualify? And again, don't pre-qualify yourself. I always say go through the questionnaire, because there might be something you're not thinking about. The questionnaire definitely helps you with different drop downs of like, oh yeah, I did have a supply chain, or I had some problems during 2020 or 2021. So where does that number 26,000 come into place? There's 5,000 available for 2020 and 21,000 available for 2021. It's $7,000 per quarter for the first 3 quarters. That's where they get 21,000. And then 5,000 for the whole year divided by 3 quarters in 2020. Now, the questions are in basic, let's just call it basic math or basic questionnaire is, number 1, do you have 500 employees or less? If the answer is yes, the question used to be just another question. Did you have a 20% revenue loss? That's how we started that's how we started the company. But then of those amendments we talked about the very first, now there's it's an or question. So do you have 500 employees or less? If the answer is yes, the next question is, did you have a 20% revenue loss, or could you have a supply chain disruption to your business, or did you have a full or partial shutdown, government orders due to COVID orders? So that's where they opened this up a couple of different times, because not a lot of people were utilizing this in mid to late 2021. And this was past legislation. This just shows like a couple real examples of businesses. Retail shop, 9 employees, we got them $68,000. Local restaurant, 1.2 million. This is also available for nonprofits, 501as, 501cs, churches. Actually, you can have, we work with a lot of churches nationally as well. This shows on our website. If you want to like see some testimonials, you obviously can go to the About side, hit testimonials. These are people that actually received real checks. The first one left there is actually a company called Fit Body Boot Camp. They actually reached out to all their franchise owners, and we're able to help more than half of the franchise owners nationally that we originally helped the headquarters of Fit Body Boot Camp first. We talked about this a little bit, so I won't go too much over it. Why hasn't my CPA told me about this? I say, don't get upset with your tax pro, your CPA, because just like if you're going through a divorce, you don't call a real estate attorney to defend you. You call a divorce attorney. You call someone that specializes in it. We specialize in this ERC credit. We don't want to do your taxes. We want to do your ERC credit. We don't want to do your 1040s and 1120s, right? We want to work with your tax pro in order to make sure you maximize on this program. So what's the timeline? We talked about it's 5 or 10 minutes per EIN. So if you have like 2 restaurants, it's going to take you 5 or 10 minutes. No, we don't ask for any payment, nothing up front. You upload some documents, your 941s, your payroll reports, your basic PPP info, and we guide you through the process and what that is. And then it takes, after you upload it, it takes us 2-3 weeks to come back to you and say, hey, now on step 4, you're approved for, in your case, Dean, 42, let's say it's, I didn't know your number exactly, but this is, $42,000.42. Do you want us to file? And then you DocuSign it, and then we file within 72 hours. 6 months later, or less, or more, we can't control that date, is then you have checks in the mail, right? And that is that the same type of timeline that you had, I assume?
Yep.
Awesome. This just talks about as of January 30th, so about a month ago, we had filed $7 billion in credits and 41,000 businesses. And so far, we're really close to that 50,000 mark. This just talks about other companies are charging like an admin fee, 25, 30% on top of that. We're charging 15%. Now, if someone wants a discount, we do offer a discount. If you want to pay for the service up front, you can get 1/3 off, which is 10% of what you're approved for. But we leave that totally up to the customer if they want to do that. So again, how do you contact us? You want to go to deanrogers.com/ERC. So I don't know if that kind of encompasses everything, Dean. I'm sure that you have maybe an additional thing or two you want to go over together.
Yeah. So those are some hard-hitting facts. I think some really important things for people to understand is that almost everybody heard about the PPP loan, right?
Yeah.
They know about it. They're ready to take action on it. They're running to the bank to go get that set up. But the ERC, employee retention credit, is a tax credit set up for you based on you keeping employees. That money is ready to go. And like you said, with your real life experience, there was no one really that was doing it at the level of service that you needed and wanted. And so you started the company with several partners. And so, I used you guys. The experience was extremely seamless, very simple. Went through the questionnaire. It took me 10 to 15 minutes. I did it for 2 entities. And I'm sorry, I did it for 1 entity. One of those entities has the W-2 employees, one of the qualifications. And I think one of the things that I believed was why I wouldn't qualify is because of some of the things we talked about, right? Supply chain disruption. Did I really have a supply chain disruption? Nearly everybody had a supply chain disruption. Are you kidding me? Like, the whole world was practically shut down. Most people are in a business that had to do with some sort of goods and services or whatever it was. And so chances are, now, a lot of people will ask, well, how do I prove that I had a supply chain disruption? How do people prove it? Do they need to prove it?
They on our questionnaire, we asked them to state different items in order to substantiate that. In addition to the other piece that I think is important is you're in San Diego, and there was the top 3 states that had the most COVID shutdown orders: California, Hawaii, New York, right? So sometimes they think of those 1 or 2 items, but there's also an additional item that you can actually possibly qualify for. And again, we go through those questions through the questionnaire, and it's very defined. Like, that's what a lot of people like, and that's what you said with seamless. Especially, I'm sure that when you're going through the process, let's say you're a little skeptical, that's totally okay, but you're going through it like, okay, well, these guys only get paid if I get this done, so I'll upload the stuff. It hasn't cost me anything, in 6 months, or use it 4 or 5 months later, you receive money.
Right. And again, I'm in real estate. I did it myself. I got my results. I was very happy with it. But most of my business friends in real estate as well continue to share story after story of other business owners that they've told about it. There's a lot of farmers where I grew up. There's a lot of contractors. A lot of different, well, there's, franchise owners. Like one of my good friends just told me the other day, a Domino's franchise owner got $5.6 million back. I mean, we're
Oh, yeah.
talking some insane money. So if you're listening to this, you might have a larger business, or you might have a small business like I did with literally 1 or 2 employees during the qualifying years, and I still got just under $40,000 back. So is it worth it? I mean, for me, there's no question that you should at least go through the questionnaire.
Well, you talked about PPP. That's what was kind of interesting is PPP was brokered through the banks, right?
Mhm.
And banks were actually paid a commission up to 5% of the amount of the PPP loan, right? But even then, when they were doing that, we've actually approached banks and said, hey, you guys did so many PPP loans. Why don't you guys, let us help your customers? Because this is more of a tax play, where PPP was answering almost like 5 or 6 questions. If the green light popped up, you got money and you're going into the bank to go pick up that money. Where this, we have to go through like your actual 941s that you filed, and we have to match them up. Have we had someone send in falsified 941s? Yeah. And we aren't able to send those off to the IRS because there's just things that don't add up, and so it's almost hard to even commit fraud with this, because the IRS has that on file. You know what I mean? So that's what's kind of made this program harder for even banks to look at it to do, because they don't have the resources to do this. Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for being on, Josh. I think this is an eye-opening experience that I went through. The ship is sailing. The ship is sailing on this. This money that's available by the government through this CARES Act is limited. It's not around forever. So if you want to take advantage of it, you got to do something now, because at some point it's going to be gone. As of right now, what is the drop dead last date that they have?
Good question. So we have about a year and a half left on it. The thing that we see all the time is we're starting to see actually a lot more applications submitted. What does that do? What that does is, now if you filed it today, it could be 4 to 6 months, like you mentioned. If you're going to wait a couple months, it could be up to 8 to 9 months the time you file. Because what we're doing is we're backlogging the IRS, not us. We're backlogging the IRS because now we're sending them all these applications and all these filings. So I tell people, like, hey, you might as well put yourself in line, and just know that what was it, March of 2023? You do it in the next couple weeks, you'll probably have money by Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, awesome. And again, thanks so much for being on, guys. If you want to go check this out, get yourself qualified, easy questionnaire, and take advantage of getting money back that is free and due to you. Go to deanrogers.com/ERC. Check that out. And wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks for watching this. Until next time, peace.
Thanks for having me, Dean. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks, Josh.